United Water is now Suez, safe, clean water for the communities they serve.
The Vernon Independent Retailers Association reminds you that when you shop locally, you're helping to build our community by supporting local employment and keeping your tax dollars in our community. Support the Vernon Independent Retailers who support you. Brought to you by The Copy Center, H&H Auto Parts, Healthy Times Market, McAfee Hardware, Heaven Hill Farm, Lakeland Pool and Spa, Valley Paint and Hardware, and Vernon Tire and Auto Center. Come in, we're local.
Welcome to Greetings from Vernon. My name is Dan Cleary, your host. We're coming to you from the Veteran Reforms War Post, Wallkill Valley, 8441, located right here in the middle of Vernon on Route 94. Anyone that lives in town knows exactly where I'm talking about, and it's a great organization, and it's November. Veterans Day is this month, and it's a great time to honor our veterans. And you know what? It shouldn't just be one day or 2 days a year that we honor our veterans. We should honor them all the time for the service they've given to this country, and that's what the VFW is all about. We're going to talk to the quartermaster from the VFW, Bob Constantine, later on the show. But I want to also make an announcement before we get into tonight's episode. We want to welcome Mountain Creek. The Kaufmans have been great neighbors here in town. They own Mountain Creek now, and they are now one of the sponsors here on Greetings from Vernon, so we want to thank them. First up tonight, we have a story about a great athlete that came out of Vernon Township back in the late 80s, Lisa Parak. She's now married now, Lisa Parak Neary. She was an all-state track athlete, and she was All-American in college at Clemson, and she was recently inducted into the Sussex County Sports Hall of Fame, and I was lucky enough to sit down with Lisa and talk about that great honor. We're here with Lisa Parak Neary, a 2016 inductee to the Sussex County Sports Hall of Fame, Vernon graduate and went to Clemson. Lisa, your thoughts on being selected?
No, this is quite an honor. It's going on 29, almost 30 years since I graduated from Vernon. There's been a lot of people inducted into the Hall of Fame, so it's really great to be here tonight. Wonderful.
What are some of your memories at Vernon? You were a three-sport star, but you know everyone remembers what your accomplishments in track and field, especially the throwing events.
You know, I competed in a lot of sports there. But mainly, of course, track and field. I really worked hard at doing, setting out to accomplish a lot of those goals, but most of all, I wanted to take it to the next level. And with the help of the coaches in Vernon, keeping me on track, I was able to accomplish some great things there at Vernon, so I'm very happy for that.
And then you took it to the next level. You went to Clemson and had a great career down there in the ACC.
I did, and when I was there, got there in 87, and got to accomplish not only winning a member of the first women's ACC track and field championship team in 91, but gosh, I was a four-time ACC individual champion, once in the javelin and three-time in the discus, to help my team accomplish the goal in 1991.
Just talk about how far female athletics have come over the years.
Boy, they've come a very long way. Meaning back then, we don't have the things that the athletes have now. And again, soccer has grown, women's soccer. Track and field has grown over the years, but and it's good to see a lot of the athletes now just trying to chase their dream, as I did back then.
Now, you come from an athletic family. Your brother John was a great athlete. Susie was a great field hockey player. Talk about how important sports was to the Parak family growing up.
Very competitive. Always competitive. We're probably still competitive to this day. You should know that, Dan. However, when we did compete, we were each other's biggest fan out there. Always wanted everybody to be very successful. But it was great to come from an athletic background. With that being said, it's an honor to have my brother and sister that will be here this evening.
Folks, if you weren't around when she was playing, she was a great soccer player, great in basketball, would have had 1,000 points, but gave it up to do indoor track and just had an amazing track career at Clemson. So congratulations to Lisa. We'll have more here on Greetings from Vernon right after these messages here on Channel 10 and mugsmedia.com. United Water is now Suez, safe, clean water for the communities they serve.
The Vernon Independent Retailers Association reminds you that when you shop locally, you're helping to build our community by supporting local employment and keeping your tax dollars in our community. Support the Vernon Independent Retailers who support you. Brought to you by The Copy Center, H&H Auto Parts, Healthy Times Market, McAfee Hardware, Heaven Hill Farm, Lakeland Pool and Spa, Valley Paint and Hardware, and Vernon Tire and Auto Center. Come in, we're local.
Welcome back to Greetings from Vernon. This is our November edition. I hope everyone had a happy and safe Halloween. It's now Thanksgiving, and then next thing you know, Black Friday and Christmas, boy, it just flies by. So if you're a regular viewer of this show, you know we do an educational spotlight once a month. We usually sit down with Dr. Charles McKay, the Assistant Superintendent of Schools. Well, we talked to him and Dan Oseni about a new project they have going with Rutgers University as part of their CTE program. And this program is dedicated towards students who want to get into the healthcare field. And I'll let those two explain it to you.
Good evening. Today we'd like to talk about Vernon's new $500,000 grant from the state of New Jersey. The grant was awarded to us last spring. And what it allowed us to do is create CTE programs that we've been doing in the Vernon High School in the past 6 months. We have 5 new CTE programs, and 2 of which come under the auspices of the grant. One of them is Allied Health, and the other one is Hospitality. Today we'd like to talk about the Allied Health program. The Allied Health program is a program where our students take a series of 3 or 4 courses in which they get to major, if you will, in high school in the medical field. One of the ways that we're working with other schools in order to do this is we have our students now getting concurrent credit from Sussex County Community College for the courses that they're taking during this time. Also, we have an opportunity for our students to go right to work with situations like being a nurse's aide or a pharmacy tech, and we're working on how to get those certifications for our students as well. And finally, we have a brand new program in which we have coupled with Rutgers University for an amazing amount of credits. And all of this is through the auspices of our science supervisor, Dan Oseni. Dan is here today to talk about this new program.
Thank you, Dr. McKay. The Rutgers program has generated a great deal of interest and enthusiasm in both staff and students. We currently have 60 students who have signed up for the introductory class. Now, in the past, we've had students who were interested in going on in medicine, of course, but we never really had a program that was tailored to meet their needs. This Rutgers program will do that. For our introductory class is Dynamics of Healthcare in America. And what this class does is give them exposure to the entire healthcare system in the U.S., which is fairly complicated, and most of us do not know in that great detail unless you're working in the industry. Before, when students came in and said, oh, I want to go in medicine, they said, oh, I want to be a doctor, I want to be a nurse, physical therapist. But those were the only ones we generally heard about. This new course, this introduction class, will give them exposure to the wide variety of careers that exist in healthcare. I was amazed myself when I looked at it. There were so many different careers available for the students. And what we do with that class is we look at these careers, we look at the academic requirements, what the job entails, the salaries that are associated with it, how much time with school they have to put in, post-college work if required, so the kids at least know what they're getting into and make a more informed decision. Now, the next class they would take is Anatomy and Physiology. Now, this is the basic college class that students would take if they're going to go on in this field. So we're offering the same class, it's college level, it's got the college laboratory, the dissections are in it, the kids study the structure and function of the human body, and then how the body systems work. Now, one of the benefits of this class is between the dissections and the things they're exposed to in lab, students will get a good idea if they really want to pursue this career, rather than go to college, spend a year and say, you know what, this is not for me. So in that respect, it'll help them make an informed decision. The third class that we have is emergency and clinical care. And this will train the students how to deal with a medical emergency. CPR, serious bleeding, someone choking. So by the time they're done with this, they'll have a certificate or an advanced first aid. Now, the best part of this program, which I haven't said yet, is that they're eligible for Rutgers credit at no charge. So the way it's set, if they take the 3 classes that I just mentioned, they will be eligible for 13 Rutgers credits. The only charge is the cost of the $30 cost for an online exam. We hope to add a nutrition class next year, which will bring the credits that they can get up to 16, which is 1 college semester. When you factor in room and board and the tuition at a state school, that is a sizable savings. And as for the teachers, how they're affected, this is really allowing us to focus on developing the skills that the students will need to be successful in this career. Thank you.
Well, they do a lot over there at the board office, getting all these programs together. The one at Rutgers, they recently signed up with Temple to have an agreement with them. Sussex County Community College has a campus on the high school campus. So there's a lot of moving and shaking here in the Vernon School District, and they're doing a lot for our kids right here in Vernon. So we'll have more on Greetings from Vernon right after these messages here on Channel 10 and mugsmedia.com. United Water is now Suez, safe, clean water for the communities they serve.
The Vernon Independent Retailers Association reminds you that when you shop locally, you're helping to build our community by supporting local employment and keeping your tax dollars in our community. Support the Vernon Independent Retailers who support you. Brought to you by The Copy Center, H&H Auto Parts, Healthy Times Market, McAfee Hardware, Heaven Hill Farm, Lakeland Pool and Spa, Valley Paint and Hardware, and Vernon Tire and Auto Center. Come in, we're local.
Welcome back to Greetings from Vernon. I'm your host, Dan Cleary. As we said, coming to you all episode long from the VFW here in the middle of town in Vernon. And we were able to talk with Quartermaster Bob Constantine about what the hall has to offer and what the VFW means to the people here in town and throughout the nation as we honor our veterans in November.
Our mission is to, we basically do more for veterans than any other veterans group by sheer numbers. And we are the only group that you actually have to serve in a combat situation, whether it's in land or sea or in the air. We have at the post presently about 211 members, and I think about 1.5 million nationwide. Actually, this Sunday, the Lions vets are going to be bussed up here about 25 to 30, and then we cook them a home-cooked meal. And then like different groups and high school kids come out and they dance with them and do shows. And then we get donations of like clothes and other stuff for them. And we do that like twice a year.
How important is it to have a VFW post in town in Vernon? Because you guys have been a staple here. You're celebrating your 50th anniversary.
Well, it's important because there is no other veterans group that has its dedicated building. You have the Vietnam vets, which work out of the church, on Thursdays, and they do a tremendous job. But here we're here all year round, and we do different things, fundraisers, and when we find like a veterans family in need, we try to do local because the national takes care of the national people. We started a charter in November '66. It started, I guess, by the McAfee Firehouse first, and then they got this building, I believe, donated.
You do a lot of service work here at the VFW, but you also have the hall for rentals, for parties. Tell everyone the services you offer that way.
Well, we offer the hall, and you can stop in any day from 2 o'clock to like 9 o'clock and see our club manager, Jen, and she will give you the paperwork and tell you the prices and all that. Women's Auxiliary, they get either like the wives or daughters or, of a VFW qualified person, and they do a lot for the vets, like when the Lions, they do most of the serving. They get the dessert donated, and they get the clothes and books and all that. Our beefsteak would be Saturday, November 19th. We have draft beer, soda, and a beefsteak by Gazelle's Catering. Dinner will be served at 7 o'clock, $40 a ticket. You can come in at 6 and it'll be to 12.
Great guys down there at the VFW, folks. If you can help them out donation-wise, go to that beefsteak. It's a great organization. And along those same lines of honoring our veterans, on December 17th, Wreaths Across America, that great program, they're going to be putting down wreaths at the grave sites of veterans at Glenwood Cemetery, well, 565. It's being done through the Vernon School District. It's going to be on December 17th, 10 a.m. at the Glenwood Cemetery. You have until November 30th if you want to get involved and buy a wreath or donate. Contact the board office here in Vernon to get more information, but what a worthwhile program to honor our veterans. We'll have more here on Greetings with Vernon right after these messages here on Channel 10 and mugsmedia.com. United Water is now Suez, safe, clean water for the communities they serve.
The Vernon Independent Retailers Association reminds you that when you shop locally, you're helping to build our community by supporting local employment and keeping your tax dollars in our community. Support the Vernon Independent Retailers who support you. Brought to you by The Copy Center, H&H Auto Parts, Healthy Times Market, McAfee Hardware, Heaven Hill Farm, Lakeland Pool and Spa, Valley Paint and Hardware, and Vernon Tire and Auto Center. Come in, we're local.
Welcome back to Greetings from Vernon. I'm your host, Dan Cleary, coming to you from the VFW here in town. Well, right next to the VFW, longtime gas station owner and garage owner Terry Huber has been in the community for 40 years. He had the mobile, now he's on the other side of Route 94. It's Vernon Tire and Auto. We spoke to one of his employees, John Church, about what they had to offer, and he also gave us some driving tips and equipment tips for this upcoming winter.
At Vernon Tire and Auto, we've offered general car care and you do a lot of brake work here due to the hills in Vernon. We can do tune-ups, brakes, batteries, fan belts, basically all car maintenance services. And we've been here at this location here for the last 40 years. The first 26 years we're across the street as a mobile station, and Terry Huber is the owner. And then he's been here since then, so for a total of 40 years. It's nice to have a mechanic who's familiar with your car. Each car, people say they're all the same, but actually they're different. The way people drive them, if I'm more familiar with your car, how you drive it, I could service it better. I know to check your brakes maybe more often, or you're a little harder on, say, your wipers. I could check those items because I know your car and you know me. I would say check your wipers. Usually the sun, if you park your car outside, especially, I know on my own truck, wipers, they dry out in about 8 months and they start to streak and smear. And another thing I like to remind people, your wipers are not bulldozers. If there's 8 inches of snow on your car, don't just hop in and turn the wipers on. You'll probably damage the wiper linkage or the motor, and then you're going to have a big bill. Get out with your little broom or whatever and clean your windshield off first. And again, with ice too, they're not ice breakers. Clean your windshield or let it idle, let the defroster do its job before you get in here and turn the wipers on. Well, we can get just about any brand tire you want. Some it takes us a little longer to get. We don't stock any tires, but there's just hundreds, if not thousands of combinations. But we can get them, we get 3 deliveries a day on tires. And so we can just about get anything you want about any time you want it. And then just prices vary, from the entry-level budget tire all the way up to a high performance. Important thing when shopping for tires is when you go to some of these price-based operations, clubs or warehouses, they have their own house tires or a club tire. Now that tire is manufactured just for them, and it's a different quality of ours, and usually lesser quality. The problem is with that is, I can't match that tire. If you drive away from that club, just say you buy it at a regional club, and you damage a tire or need a tire replaced out on the road, the other people can't match that tire up. The tire is made specifically for that particular retailer. But here at Vernon Tire and Auto, we get brand name first line tires. And we do have a range of prices from budget all the way up to high performance, but they are the first line tires. I think it's very important to shop in town. We have some quality merchants here. And why would you want to drive someplace and then so many miles away, park your car, go into some big store to get an item where you can go to the individual merchants here, parked basically in the front, walk right in, be greeted at the door, and be advised on a product if you need help, or just pick up the item you need and pay for it and leave. I mean, why would you want to commute to do that? Price is what you pay, value is what you get. Vernon Tire and Auto is open 6 days a week, 8 to 5 Monday through Friday, and 8 to 12 on Saturdays. We're closed Sundays. We can be reached at 973-764-1155 or 973-764-4422.
Folks, you know, getting the right mechanic is so important. The trust value has to be there. And Terry Huber's been in town for 40 years. He knows what he's doing. So if you need to get your car done, stop by. He gave you all the information. We'll have more here on Greetings from Vernon right after these messages here on Channel 10 and mugsmedia.com. United Water is now Suez, safe, clean water for the communities they serve.
The Vernon Independent Retailers Association reminds you that when you shop locally, you're helping to build our community by supporting local employment and keeping your tax dollars in our community. Support the Vernon Independent Retailers who support you. Brought to you by The Copy Center, H&H Auto Parts, Healthy Times Market, McAfee Hardware, Heaven Hill Farm, Lakeland Pool and Spa, Valley Paint and Hardware, and Vernon Tire and Auto Center. Come in, we're local.
Welcome back to Greetings from Vernon. Now it's time for a monthly safety tip from Vernon Police Chief Randy Mills.
Hello, I'm Chief Randy Mills of the Vernon Township Police Department. Back again this month thanks to Mugs Media to share some important safety tips with our community. First, let me start off by thanking our mayor and council for the gesture they did for our police department. If you've driven through the center of town recently, you've noticed a little bit of a change on Church Street, and that is the blue line that was painted down the middle. That's such a nice reminder for my officers every time that they drive to and from police headquarters that we do have the backing of our community, which is so important, especially in the world as we see it today. Today we wanted to talk about some things as we start to enter the holiday season, about some scams and safety tips about if you're dealing with people online, whether it's Craigslist or any of the other services out there, and talk to you about some of the more common scams that are out there, things that we've seen in our area. First, one you don't hear about a lot, but it's definitely out there, is the home rental scam. And what happens there is somebody finds a house that's been vacant for a long time. They go in, they change the locks themselves, they put an ad on Craigslist or otherwise offering it up for rental. They meet with people, they have them sign contracts, they take security deposits, and they even take rent. And they never owned the house, they had no rights to the house. And yet these poor people are not only giving up all their money up front, they're moving all their possessions in, they're moving out of the house or the home that they had, and sometimes they're there for days, weeks, or months, and they find out that they're actually staying in the house illegally. So that's a scam that we have seen in this area. Some other scams that are out there are ticket buying scams. You have to be very careful if you're buying tickets online, especially if they're the type that can be printed out on a piece of paper. Somebody could very well sell you a ticket that either has been voided out by the company, the issuing company, or a ticket that they've sold to 5 other people, and if you're not the first one to the venue, the first person's going to get in, and everybody after that, the scanner's going to beep and say, I'm sorry, you're not allowed entry. So be very careful if you buy tickets online. Stay with the more well-known online services, Ticketmaster, StubHub, the more reputable companies, and you won't have these type of issues. Some other scams that are out there are when you're buying a car, and this one's been around forever, and we've seen some people right here in our Vernon area take some pretty devastating losses. If you see a car for sale on Craigslist and it looks too good to be true, a 2014 Toyota Tacoma with 24,000 miles, and they're saying it's a divorce sale and we only need $5,000 for it, chances are that's not legit. Next thing you know, they're going to ask you to send them a good faith deposit via Western Union of $1,000 or something, and they're going to scam you out of your money. Anything that's too good to be true is probably too good to be true. So be very careful. Anybody who offers to ship a car, you know, if they offer a car for sale in Vernon, and then as you go to make the deal, or anywhere in Sussex County, and as you go to make the deal, they say, oh yeah, well right now the car's in Massachusetts, I just need to have it shipped down, you just need to transfer some money to me and then we'll get this process started. And they add into that the escrow scam, which is they say to protect you, they'll have you transfer the money to an escrow company. And then that way, when you get the car and inspect it, the escrow company won't pay them until you've released the funds, until you've said that the vehicle's as described. So you are depositing money in what you think is an escrow account that is going to be held there until you approve the final transaction, when in fact that escrow account was just a dummy account set up by the same people who are trying to sell you the car. So don't fall into the trap of somebody saying you're going to put the money in escrow. If it's a vehicle transaction, it's on Craigslist, and you're not making a face-to-face giving money for a title, you have to be extremely careful. The other one that's out there is the jobs that you can get. You see these on Facebook posts, you see these in blogs after newspaper articles where people get the comment, and it's, oh, I make $600 a day working from home, or my uncle makes $500 a week working from home. Well, what happens is some people do get desperate and they need some money and they try to sign up with these services. And one of the more typical ones is they'll sign you up, and one of the more recent ones says, well, I'm out of state right now, I do need some help, so I'm going to hire you right now over the phone. Here's what I've got to do. I've got a couple checks right now that are coming in that I'm going to send to you to put in your personal bank account. So the person may be given $8,000, $10,000 worth of checks that they're told to deposit into their personal account. Then they wait a day and they said, well, now I need you to go and I need you to get send out Western Union money to all my business customers that I need to either purchase things from, send refunds through. And what happens is the money in your account clears. It looks like it's cleared, but it's not cleared. The funds by law have to clear over a certain period of time, but the bank might not find out for 3 to 5 days that that check was actually either forged or an improper check. So you've mailed out funds to these other people via Western Union that you can't get back, and now your bank is calling you saying you owe them $6,000, $8,000 for the check you deposited that turned out to not be legit. So be very afraid of that one. So there's a lot going on this holiday season. A lot of people are trying to sell things online, trying to raise some extra money maybe for the holidays. So be careful. If you're going to be making these transactions, try to look for a safe place and just be smart and use common sense. Let's have a great holiday season. Thanks.
Thanks, Chief. Well, again, that's going to wrap up this edition of Greetings from Vernon. Again, if you want to advertise, please send us an email at info@mugsmedia.com. And if you don't have Service Electric and you want to watch the show, or you have satellite TV, we have a dedicated page now on the Mugs Media website, www.mugsmedia.com, to Greetings from Vernon. You can click on the link and it'll take you right to the show. So if you have any story ideas, if you want to advertise, again, email info@mugsmedia.com. And some things coming up here in Vernon in November, on November 12th and the 22nd. Ski passes for Mountain Creek through Vernon PAL are available at discount prices. You have to be a Vernon resident. Go to the Vernon PAL webpage, and they'll have a lot more information, also their Facebook page. And again, the Vernon Police Facebook page, great source of information. Vernon Township has a Facebook page. The Vernon Historical Society, you can get all the information you need about what's going on in town. And a very worthwhile program will be coming up on November the 15th at Glen Meadow Middle School. It is the Vernon Coalition giving a speech and a program called Hidden in Plain Sight about substance abuse. And if you want to get more information on them, call the coalition at 973-764-4276. And finally, happy 27th anniversary to Healthy Times Market. The Seagulls over there, great people. They've really built that business up, and they just celebrated their 27th anniversary. Want to thank them and thank all the members of VIRA for being sponsors here on the show. It's a great organization. We appreciate their help. And again, want to welcome Mountain Creek to the Greetings from Vernon family, and we'll have some stories on them with the winter season coming up, so keep an eye out for that. So that'll wrap it up here from the Vernon VFW. I'm Dan Cleary. We'll see you again soon on Channel 10 and mugsmedia.com.